morning, 9:27. We're a little bit ahead of schedule today, but there's a reason for that as we bring you Ask the Lawyer on Kicks Country 92.9 with Bruce Elshiner, attorney for the injured. And the reason for that is you may have seen the article in the paper a couple days ago. There's some pending changes in Florida's automobile insurance laws, and I couldn't make heads or tails out of it. I'm sure you couldn't either. So I thought we'd turn to the one person I know that could provide answers. Please help me welcome Bruce Elshiner, attorney for the injured. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Todd. How are you this morning?
Fine, thank you. How are you, and how are all the Shiners?
Everybody's doing very well, especially on this beautiful Southwest Florida morning.
That's terrific. That is awesome. I know you heard my setup there, and I know you and I kind of got together on this ahead of time because it is a very confusing subject for most of us. So we're not going to take on our typical question of the week. Instead, I'm going to ask you to help us understand what is going on here after 50 years of being a no-fault state, no-fault insurance state. We're about to go to what's called a tort system. Is that right?
That is correct, Todd.
What does that mean?
Well, that means that every automobile or every vehicle owner will have to carry mandatory bodily injury liability coverage.
Okay.
Under the current law, if you have a clean driving record, you're only required to carry PIP or personal injury protection coverage and property damage coverage. Mm-hmm. So if you injure someone in an accident, there's no bodily injury coverage to protect them.
I see.
Under the new law, everybody would require to have a minimum of $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident of bodily injury liability coverage.
Okay, so that's the one main area of difference as far as when we are renewing our policy, so to speak. But I'm sure there are other areas of difference as far as the law is concerned. And when you deal with trying to recover for people's injuries and so forth, what does that mean for you and for people who get hurt?
Well, for people that get hurt, it ensures them that there'll be a minimum of $25,000 of coverage to help pay for their damages, both their actual out-of-pocket expenses and their intangible damages such as pain and suffering.
Okay.
Right now, our system in Florida is completely broken. We're the second worst state in the United States in regard to insurance coverage.
Yes.
1 out of every 4 vehicles on the road have no insurance at all.
That's just so scary to even think of. And when we get, heaven forbid, we get hurt, that means there could be nothing to recover on the other side of it. Unless, of course, you have uninsured motorists, which we're going to talk about here in just a second. Is it my understanding that by going to the tort system also, that it leaves more room to approach a jury on injury expenses and pain and suffering and that kind of thing?
Well, what it does is it eliminates the requirement under the no-fault law that in order to make a recovery, you have to have sustained a permanent injury.
I see.
So you'll be entitled to make a recovery if you're injured in an accident without the jury having to determine if you have a permanent injury or not. And one of the best things of the law, besides it providing coverage for all the drivers or victims who are injured, it's estimated that on the average vehicle owner will save $350 per vehicle.
Is that right?
On insurance coverage.
Well, and that has been the big area of debate. You've got you've got proponents saying it'll save the consumer money. You've got opponents saying it'll cost more, but it is your opinion, and you've got some research behind it that will save.
That is correct.
Very good. Now this is what I wanted to bring up because I had a suspicion you were going to say that. If it turns out that this goes through, and I guess the only thing that could hold it up at this point would be a veto from the governor, and that's not looking likely. If this goes...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
If this goes through and you're going to save money on your insurance premiums, that's awesome. But consider redirecting some of that savings into beefing up your uninsured motorist coverage would be my amateur thought on it. What do you think? I'm sorry, you dropped out a little bit, Bruce. Could you say that again?
Having as much uninsured motorist coverage in the stacking form as you could possibly afford.
That's what I thought. You always should have as much as you can afford. And so, if you're going to save $350 a year on a vehicle, you could peel off a few of those dollars and get some more coverage because more is going to be better.
Well, the only thing along those lines, Todd, is you can purchase more uninsured motorist coverage than you can bodily injury coverage.
Gotcha.
If you have the new minimum of $25.50 of uninsured motorist coverage, that's the maximum. Of bodily injury coverage, that's the maximum.
I see.
Uninsured motorist coverage you can purchase. However, you can make sure that you have stacking uninsured motorist coverage, so that one vehicle will add to the other as far as the insurance coverage is concerned.
This is something we hear on almost a weekly basis. Pastor Bruce always preaching the stacking form, and for good reason, because it's for your own good and protection. So as we get closer, and this would be like the 1st of next year when it goes into effect, you think?
Yeah, that's the proposed effective date is January 1,
okay,
2022.
So as we get closer to that, I'm sure there'll be an education curve for consumers and the insurance industry. I know we can count on you to keep us informed and help us figure everything out we need to know.
We certainly will, Todd, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Bruce, thanks so much for spending some time with us. I know you're busy. I can hear you're a busy guy, so I'm going to let you go, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
Okay, thank you very much, Todd.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bruce L. Shiner, attorney for the injured. Some great information there on what could be a major change in Florida's insurance laws starting the 1st of next year. Now, if you have any questions about your insurance, your coverage, what you should be carrying, what you are carrying, or if you've been injured and need help, please call the Port Charlotte office of Bruce L. Shiner & Associates at 941-743-7777. 941-743-7777. And tell them that Todd Matthews sent you from Kicks Country 92.9.